Hi friends, welcome to Voice for Public Sector YouTube channel. We have today Comrade Thomas Franco, who is one of the joint convener of People First. We are going to hear from him about the initiatives of People First and their past activities and their future programs. Welcome, Comrade Thomas Franco.
People First is a platform of civil society, trade unions and people's movements started in 2019. The main objective is to coordinate activities between civil society, trade union and people's movement related to democracy, people's rights, trade union rights and to save public sector. So under People First, we have different task forces. We have a national task force called the PSU National Task Force, which concentrates on issues related to public sector, privatization efforts, issues concerning selling of public assets, public services. And we have another group working on democracy and rights. We also have an expert group which looks at latest developments which are taking place in the country, like what is happening to the different public services, what the government is attempting to. We bring out articles, videos, we have a website, we have a YouTube channel. We publish a weekly newsletter. So mainly the People First is a coordination body trying to converge the efforts of different organizations to see that the country remains democratic and people's rights are safeguarded and public sector and public services remain public.
How many organizations are there in the People First and what type of organizations are members in the People First?
See, if we see civil society organizations, there are people's forum like Association for Democratic Rights. There are organizations like Focus on Global South. There are organizations that are Center for Financial Accountability, Financial Action Network. And if we see trade unions, we have one of the major constituent is the National Confederation of Officers Associations, which is a representative body of officers in all public sector undertakings. Then we have trade union representatives from the railway trade unions. We have from the All India Insurance Employees Association. We have people from the banking sector, officers as well as workmen representatives. Then as people's movements, if we see, we have All India People's Science Network, we have Bharat Gyan Vigyan Samiti, we have National Alliance of People's Movement, we have a large network called Jan Sarokar, that is a People's Parliament, which itself has more than 200 member organizations. We have the Right to Food Campaign Network. Like that, various organizations are together. Each organization does its own activities. Certain activities we try to collaborate, coordinate, and also we contribute to each other, mainly providing inputs, organizing webinars, organizing seminars, even organizing street theatre. This we mutually help each other.
You had organized many meetings with eminent personalities as the speaker, like including Max Essay Award winner Sainath, IAS officer Devasagam, retired IAS officer Devasagayam, and Sasikant Sindhil and others. How do you see this?
See, when the pandemic came, we could not have physical meetings. Earlier we had a Kalajada, a street play for 35 days. Public meetings could not be held. So we thought of using the webinar. So in the webinar, we had 12 webinars related to public sector and 12 webinars related to financial sector. Then we had a convention, national convention for railways alone, one national convention for combining all public sector. Then we had a state level convention online for Tamil Nadu, one state level convention for Kerala. Subsequently, again, issue based, we had been organizing webinars along with Center for Financial Accountability. We had been taking up issues like the present asset monetization pipeline. But now at present we are concentrating on the public sector. So in the public sector, you have seen the national monetization pipeline, which is selling off everything in the country to the corporates. So three things we are in the process it is. Number one is we are constituting a People's Commission on monetization, privatization and disinvestment. This commission, already the people who have confirmed to be members of the commission, some of them I can name: Dr. Thomas Isaac, former Finance Minister of Kerala, who himself is a renowned economist; Mr. Ajay Shankar, who was Public Affairs Secretary to the Government of India; Mr. S.P. Shukla, who was former Finance Secretary; Mr. E.A. Sharma, who was former Economic Affairs Secretary; and we have few economists also, like Dr. C.P. Chandrasekhar is there. So it's going to be actually a 11-member commission, and within that commission there will be different task forces. So one task force will be looking at insurance sector, mainly the disinvestment which is planned, called the IPO they are going to issue, whether it is legal itself. So that task force will look at what was the process by which LIC was created. Who really owns LIC? It is just government or the people, the policy holders also? And what is their stake? Whether anybody has been consulted before taking a decision, and what will be the impact of this. Similarly, the general insurance, the 4 insurance companies. What was the background? How they got nationalized and created, I think, in 1972. And subsequently, what has been their contribution? What has been the role of the private sector in insurance? What is the difference and what is the importance for keeping public sector in the field of insurance? And what is the argument government is putting forward, saying that we will have a larger reach and we will have better service and all, whether it is really true, looking at even international conditions. So this kind of a report will be generated. Similarly, on railways, we plan to have one task force on banking, because now it is stated that in the next parliament session they might bringing an amendment to the Nationalization Act similar to what they have done with the general insurance. So once that is happening, we have to be guarded and prepared. Already there are groups working on it, and we have enough of materials already. So that is another area which we will be concentrating. That is one part. This is experts looking at the policies of the government, whether it is going to help a democratic country, whether it is going to help the larger majority of the country in this country, or it is going to only create some monopolies, big corporates and monopolies. And parallelly, this commission, which is guided by a task force, what we have constituted is a national working group on public sector and public services. So this national working group has a large number of people. There are trade union representatives, there are economists, there are former civil servants, there are former defense personnels. So we together, one side we will be giving input to the People's Commission and task forces. Another side is mobilizing people at the grassroots level. So that what we are trying is that mobilizing all trade unions and people's movement state-wise first. Like Tamil Nadu, we had, though it was not only people first, it was an effort of trade union collaboration. We are in touch with all the national level trade unions, central trade unions like the CITU, INTUC, AITUC. They have been participating in our webinars and we are in dialogue with them. So along with the trade unions, what we are trying is organizing at the state level a larger coalition. So starting with state level seminars, followed by district committees, district seminars and campaigns, including Kalajada, the street theatre. We have already created a street theatre group which is already performing in the northern states on the public sector issues. A very talented group, so they can enlarge their activity. Now they have 30 minutes play in which they focus on the national monetization pipeline and the public sector. So grassroots level activities also parallelly are planned and already taking place. And one more thing what we are looking at is using the social media. We are bringing out various reports, we are also bringing out videos and short messages which we use in Twitter, Facebook and all. It's only a effort which is in a nascent stage, for the initial stage. Because of the pandemic, we could not go forward very fast, but we are hoping that it will create a larger movement in the country to save the public sector and also save democracy.
Thank you, Comrade. Initially, we also thought that yours is only an intellectual group preparing some commission report or some task force report and other things. But I'm happy to hear that you are also going to the people through Kalajata and other things. One final question, because you are also from the banking front. You worked in the All India Bank Office Confederation as the General Secretary for many years. Now the recent announcement of the government on the issue of bad banks. How do you see this? How it will impact the economy as well as the general public?
From the name itself, it is bad. So, it is only to loot the banking sector further and hand over to corporate sector more assets. Just see the logic. If you really want to help with the banking sector and also the people who are affected because of the loans, they should have concentrated on the farmers, the students who have taken education loan, poor people who have taken loan for housing, the MSMEs which are failing miserably. For them, if you would have brought some asset reconstruction company and settled their issues and helped them to get a fresh loan, that would have been remarkable. But here, initial announcement itself, the finance minister herself calls it a bad bank, though it is National Asset Reconstruction Company Limited. She calls it a bad bank, and it is going to cater to borrowers who have availed loan above 500 crores. So it is only to help the large corporates. And we have more than 20 asset reconstruction companies working in the country already. And those asset reconstruction companies, they just pay 15% of the outstanding first. After that, they say that we will try to get back the money, pay, nothing happens. Historically, reports have shown that more than 26% no recovery has taken place. So 74% is written off. So the purpose is two-pronged. Number one, they want to show that the bank's books are clean. All these loans, already banks have created provisions. So once you sell this asset to the asset reconstruction company, you flow back the provision. So suddenly your profit and loss statement changes. Oh, banks are now so profitable. So now you can sell it off easily because nobody wants to buy a bank when it is not showing much of profit. That is one attempt. But the corporates who are going to take the loans or take the banks, they are more clever. They know what is the reality. The amount of loans which have been given even during this period, like the Mudra loans, nothing is going to come back. Already NPA is mounting up. So unless you address the issue from the bottom of the issue, just doing this cosmetic surgery is not going to help. So nobody is going to come and take your bank unless you throw it as a cheap price. They use that strategy, strategic sale. So that way they can just sell it off to one Adani or Ambani. Those fellows will be willing to take. Other than that, that is not going to help. Second thing, their second target is that corporates are struggling to repay the loan. So write off, legalize it. So once it is told to the given to the asset reconstruction company, they go in for a negotiation and settle for 20%, 30%, and that fellow becomes free. He can again go and take a fresh loan because his CIBIL score is changed now. So he becomes credit worthy. He will once again take a fresh loan. He will not repay. And the fellow who is buying, like what we are seeing in the the NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal, Anil Ambani's assets are sold, Mukesh Ambani buys, and the haircut is 94%. Videocon is sold, Vedanta Agarwal Sterlite fellow buys, 95% haircut. So seller is also benefited, buyer is also benefited, and this is the most dangerous thing is, it is not even just privatization. You are creating a country where there is going to be very few fellows who will be dominating everything. And what for we have a parliament then? It is going towards that direction. That's very dangerous. People have to be educated. Let us all together try and attempt, and I am sure people of this country will realize it and they will come up against it.
Thank you, comrade. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. All the best.
Wish you all success in your future endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade.